The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Folks, I just got a phone call in the break. And, I don't talk on the phone much. But I was told you've got to take this phone call. I said, I won't want to take the phone. I don't talk on the phone. I can't. You've got to take the phone call. I said, okay. 2.5 minutes. I got on the phone. Somebody, I don't know, they said they went to school with Barack Obama at Harvard. And the guy told me that Obama got the lowest grades that any Harvard graduate ever got, and that a bunch of professors gave him B's and C's when he didn't even show up to class. And then he hung up. Now, this guy from Harvard said that Obama, lowest grades anybody ever got at Harvard, had professors that covered for him and he wasn't even there. I said, can you show me any proof of this? No, hung up the phone. It took all of a minute. I'm corroborating it now. I'm telling you now. So I am calling on Barack Obama to release his Harvard transcripts. Based on this, I got a call. I got a call from a guy at Harvard who claimed that Obama's got the lowest grades anybody that went there and didn't even go to class sometimes, and the professors covered for him. It's up to Obama to prove it. The allegation's out there. It's up to Obama to. I got this call from Harvard, and the guy said he sounded smart. Said he went to Harvard. He knew enough to call a phone number that would get to me. This guy found a way to get to me. He said, Rush, this guy got the lowest grades that anybody ever got at Harvard. And he didn't even go to class a lot of times, and he got B's and C's. So, the allegations out there. I think, what do you mean the burden is on me to prove? I don't have to prove anything here. No, look, the burden is on Obama. He's the one that I've alleged got the worst grades in the history of Harvard. It's up to Obama to prove this. It's up to Obama. So we need the transcripts. And while we're at it, I wonder if I could get a call from somebody at Occidental. And maybe I'll get a call from somebody at Columbia. And maybe I'll get a call from somebody that attended an Obama lecture on the Constitution at the University of Chicago, who will tell me that he never even taught the Constitution. What he taught was subverting it and overthrowing it according to the way Saul Alinsky said to do it. But there it is. Lowest grades ever in Harvard, never went to class. Didn't, a lot of times got covered for by the prof. I got a call. And who's next? Bill in Keller, Texas. Great to have you, sir. Hello.
Hi, Rush. How you doing today?
Very well, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I heard you talking earlier about someone who had called you about Obama's Harvard experience. And I had some questions, too, that I've been kind of wondering about. I went to Occidental College quite a few years, of course, before Obama, but tremendous difficulty getting in that school. You have to be in like the upper 5% of your high school class. You have to be involved in extracurricular activities. They like it if you're a student body officer, captain of the football team, those kinds of things. And I've wondered the entire 4 years that the president has been in office, how in the world he ever got in there, because according to his book, he was such a reprobate in high school. And wondered if you had any thoughts on that.
How he got into Occidental?
Yeah, I don't see how he did based on
Well, you would know better than I. You went there.
Yes, I did.
So What do you think it could be?
Well, that's what I don't understand. I can't imagine how a young man who claims that he was such a failure in high school could possibly have qualified to get in at that time, one of the most prestigious colleges on the West Coast.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Only you know the answer. What are we talking? What years are we talking? Are we talking the 90s, late 80s? Did Occidental have an affirmative action program that you're aware of?
Not when I went there. They did not. But they did, I'm sure, when Obama went there. So you're thinking that could possibly be what allowed him to get in?
Well, if what you say is true, if the entrance requirements are what they are, affirmative action was a program designed to allow people in who otherwise wouldn't get in on the premise that they've been discriminated against most of their lives because of their skin color. And as such, these universities and any business that had any interaction, regulatory or otherwise, with the federal government, they implemented these programs and they took them to degrees that weren't even required just out of fear of the government harassing them. So I remember when I was in Pittsburgh and affirmative action hit, they started at radio stations all over town. They started hiring women who had never been on the radio before just to satisfy the requirement because their license could be up for renewal soon. And they had to keep the federal government off their back. They had the affirmative action requirements. This was a big, big deal in the 70s and 80s. Huge deal.
Yeah. Well, and I thought about that too, but then I wondered also I wonder why he left Oxy. I can't help but think about his time spent at that school, because I remember how difficult it was for me, and I was, in like the top 5%.
Well, look, his wife, Michelle My Belle Obama, has said that she would never have gotten into Princeton if it hadn't been for affirmative action.
Yeah, that must have been it. And I'm wondering if why he left and went back to the East Coast. Wondered if he just couldn't hack it. Is there any way that anybody could ever find out more about his college background?
Sure, somebody from there could call me. Somebody that went to school with Obama at Occidental could call me. Well, if anybody, admissions office, whoever knows, somebody from Occidental could call me, and then I could tell you what they said. Well, it's just like I got the call a little over an hour ago from Harvard. You remember during the first commercial break of the first hour, I got a call. I was told to take. I don't use the phone. I don't like the phone. I panic when I hear a phone ring. I either get panic or irritated. I've got to do something about it because it has the potential to ruin 5 minutes after it happens. It's nothing ever any good when the phone rings. Nothing. It's always a problem. There's something always wrong. Nothing ever good happen other than taking phone calls here, but I never hear it ring. When my cell phone rings or the phone at home, But they said, you better take this one. So I picked it up during the break, and it was somebody from Harvard, and they said that Obama got the worst records or worst grades of anybody in the history of Harvard, and that professors were covering for him when he wasn't even going to class. And then the guy was gone. So now the allegation's out there, and I think Obama has to deal with it. Obama is going to have to explain. Is it really true you got the worst grades in the history of Harvard? Because I got a call. I got a call from a guy said he went to Harvard, knows this. What do we do, folks? What do we do about it?
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.